Right. Okay, guys. Every Thursday morning for half a day for the last 20 years.
Fortnightly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Fortnightly. Every Thursday, I've sat down with a business coach. Rated, overrated, underrated. We're going to talk about this morning. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Essential or overrated? That's a big topic. So, Wayne, you sit with different business owners, operators.
Yeah.
That's what you do all day, every day.
Yeah.
What do you talk about with them?
Yeah, that's one of the great and funny things about the job is there is never a lack of things to talk about. And I have to say that a number of the clients that I have are like long term, and I become part of the family. The entry to the video here just said special guests, and yet when Mark walked in this morning, I was putting the chairs and tables out on the footpath, the same as any other member of the team would do. And so most of the organisations that I work with, we're way past the handshake and try to get into the scheme. I really understand and get into the businesses in almost the same depth as the owners, the guys running them.
Do your clients come to you when they're stuffed? Do your clients come to you when they're hungry to grow? Like, is there a pattern when you sign up a new client that they're like in the doldrums or they're
Yeah, there's a pattern.
Is there?
None of the above.
Really?
Yeah, funnily enough, my clients come to me when they're inquisitive. My clients come to me virtually all through referral because it's a very hard thing to describe as to what a business coach might work with you on and what a business coach might do. So virtually all of my clients these days come through somebody saying, hey, we work with this guy, you should check him out. If he's got time to come and see you, you should just check out what happens. And it's even hard for them to define what might happen on the first meeting or two, and even for me for that matter, until we get to know the business and where it's up to. But it's not generally through a great deal of fancy online marketing and things like that clients come. But it's just such a diverse range of situations that you find a business in. The businesses have a life cycle. Last year, we just sold 2 businesses on behalf of, or the owners of those businesses have sold 2, and they weren't, old guys waiting to retire. They were people that were either retiring at a healthy age or looking for the next challenge in life. So businesses suit different needs of people at different stages in their lives, and that's what we're endeavouring to answer the question about.
What size does your business have to be to have a business coach? Like, is it 20 staff, 50 staff, 1 staff, no staff?
Yeah, actually, that's a really good question because the reality is, over many years,
You're very expensive.
Yeah, exactly. No, and actually, I'm happy to answer that point. He's hitting me under the table because the business model that we run now is actually we revamped this a few years ago because the business model that we run now is based on one of the premises about it should be a no-brainer. If you're getting involved with a business coach, it should add a lot more both cash flow and revenue value to your business than the coach will ever cost you by a number of factors, not just break even or make it back 1.5 times. So, what was the original question?
How big does the team have
Oh,
to be?
yeah, the size of the team, the size of the team.
Actually, I remember.
Yeah, we would have come back to it. The size of the team's an interesting one. Normally, a business with 2 or 3 people in it is different from a business with 6 or 7. So 6 or 7 up to about 25 people is the ideal size for a business coach. Now, above that, it's kind of like a bell curve. When you're on the very small end of the bell curve with 2 or 3 people in a business, the owner knows how to do everything, and the owner is probably doing everything. And the next staff member comes in, and they rapidly know the things that get delegated to them. But the other thing that happens in a very small business is most of the time the owner is really, really sucked into creating enough revenue to make that thing float. So they don't have a great deal of time to do things like hunt for new business or invest in profiling new staff members or anything like that, or even strategic planning in a lot of cases. I get comments often that the only time we do strategic planning is when you walk in the door. That's why I visit on such a regular basis.
I love the saying, you're working, there's working in the business and there's working on the business. And most people get stuck to working in the business 99.9% of the time. So you need, a good portion of your time to work on the business. And that's where you come in, you sort of force that, hey.
Yeah, and also we meet for half a day a fortnight. When you think of
4 hours.
Yeah, 10 days in a fortnight. And so that's 20 half days. Mark spends one of them really strategically understanding his business. Consequently, the growth. I don't know how many staff now.
570.
There were 3 of us in the kebab shop when it started.
Started with half.
Yeah, started with half.
Yeah.
Started with 3 people and now a vast number of staff. So the fact that if you think of half a day out of 20 half days in a fortnight, it's literally 5% of the time dedicated to growing and figuring out how the business works and the structure and all of those elements of it. It's a reasonable percentage.
How much would people expect to pay for a business coach?
Oh, I'm more than happy to discuss that. The price varies dramatically. I can tell you that the way our business is structured, it's somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 a month. So it's not to the stage where...
What do you charge me? Why do you charge me triple that?
You're worth it.
Just joking.
Then we have a pain in the neck factor that we apply to that. So that's why it puts the price up. But anyway, look, business coaches shouldn't be expensive if you look at them in terms of the value that they're adding to your business. And you need to look at that both from the cash flow perspective and also from the revenue perspective.
Favorite client win? Like, what are memorable moments that you've had in your career as a business coach, where you look back at, don't mention anything with me, but you look back at, because that's the obvious one, but you look back and you go, good on them. I'm so happy for them. Is that having kids, or is it business related? Is it purely personal related? Is it they double their business or triple? What's a client?
There are hundreds.
Is there?
Oh,
well, what are they? Give me a couple of ones where you go, okay, yeah, business coaches rock.
A couple of things that are like, I've been doing this for 25 years now, and constantly new stuff happens. So one of the really cool things was I started working with a dad who passed his business to his 3 children, and when they...
Sounds like a nightmare.
Well, no, it was great, and the business had been in business for like 30 years or something, and when we took the business over, we had just doubled the rent roll, and that had surpassed the biggest rent roll that it had ever had across a number of branches, the best that the dad and his partners at the time had ever achieved. And I said to the team, do you mind if I call your dad to let them know we've just achieved this milestone? And I think their dad was almost in tears that his kids had reached that stage. There's just so many of them. One of the other things that happens is you're constantly coming up with like really cool stuff. And, it's kind of like the stealth fighter when you know that you've just developed something and none of the competing businesses around have got any idea you're doing it, and they've got no idea what it is, but you know that it's really cool and it's going to have an impact on the business. I find that fun, and that happens on a very, very regular basis. The green light in the shop down on the waterfront that we did years ago.
Yep.
Developing, Mark and I used to meet quite frequently in the ice cream / coffee shop. One year we developed the Novak flavour ice cream. That was one of the milestones.
The lime, was it?
It was coconut and...
Coconut and lime, I can't remember what it was, yeah.
But
they sold it to everyone.
Yeah, we sold that for a whole summer.
I said Novak on it.
Yeah, and so it was a branding exercise in ice cream. Things like that are really interesting and fun. And then you also get so many things happening on the personal side when you see team members in organizations growing and developing and doing things that they could have never achieved by themselves, largely because they just turn up to work and don't have that insight into growing a career or where it could go. And luckily, I have the advantage of not just seeing one business every day, like most people do when they go to work, I see dozens, and so I can take opportunities
massive.
and things and say to people, "Oh, we had a person in this other organisation that did this and this and this. That's open to you."
It's massive.
They pick it up and run with it, and huge success.
And just from me, a bit of advice, like I think from 20 to 40, owning the business, starting the business at 23, from 20 to 40, I felt like there was innocent decisions that had to be made, and I really didn't have a hell of a lot of experience. So, you know, a business coach for me was good because you could it was sort of like the big dad in the business, but even like dad,
Yeah.
but even like dads, your own dad generally doesn't have his own business, so you can't really turn to him for advice. So it was like, where do I go? So I found like you were a really good sounding board. So a bit of a plug for the old Wayne. But guys, that is a business coach and what they do. Are they essential? Are they overrated?
Oh, can I answer that
I think
question
it's essential.
really?
Yeah.
You say it's essential. I would take a more middle path. I think it's for the right people. It's amazing. If your business is not at the right time yet in that bell curve, or if you're not the personality or style of person that works well with an external person, then it may not be the right mix. But in a lot of cases, it is. The main thing is just check it out, have a chat with someone, see if it fits.
And if you need Wayne business,
Yeah, Ultimate Agency.
Ultimate Agency, Wayne Hughes, Google it.
Thanks very much.
Love you. See you. Bye.